Minister.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I'd like to start by thanking members across the Chamber for their contributions to this debate today on the cost of living. Now, I've had extensive and thoughtful contributions, both from front benchers but also an array of backbenchers, including those for Banff Buchan, Midlothian, Cynon Valley, Coatbridge, Croydon and Bells Hill, the City of Durham, Kilmarnock and Loudoun, Argyll and Bute, Glasgow East, Motherwell and Wishaw, and Inverness, Nairn, Badenoch and Strathspey, some of which, of course, I could agree with more than others. And while I'm pleased that we're having this debate today, I want to emphasise that the cost of living challenges faced by people across the United Kingdom are in fact a global challenge. We are not alone. Countries across Western Europe and indeed the rest of the world are seeing the same trends, driven largely by Putin's illegal war in Ukraine and the aftermath of the COVID pandemic, and that has been acknowledged by many, if not all. Mr Deputy Speaker, this Conservative government has been taking action to help people by providing cost of living payments, including for this year £900 for households on means-tested benefits, £300 for pensioner households, and a £150 payment for people receiving disability benefits. And in Wales, these payments have supported over 400,000 people through some very challenging times. In fact, last winter, the UK government paid almost half of household energy bills through the Energy Price Guarantee, and by providing £400 off energy bills for households. In addition, last year we provided £650 for households receiving means-tested benefits, £300 for pensioner households, £150 for the disabled, a £150 council tax rebate for households in council tax bands A to D, a 5 pence cut to fuel duty, which has been extended to 2023-24, and a permanent increase to the amount someone can earn before national insurance contributions are charged. That is, of course, on top of a 40% increase in real terms to the personal allowance since 2010. Going forward, the removal of the premium paid by those on prepayment meters will save 4 million of the poorest households £45 a year. All in all, the government's cost of living support amounts to an estimated £94 billion. Now, of course, as Conservatives, we believe that work is the best way out of poverty. We're extending the support our job centres offer to low-paid workers so they can increase their hours and move into better-paid, higher-quality jobs. In the budget, we on the Conservative benches confirm the biggest expansion of free childcare in living memory. It will reduce costs for parents who can get back to work and make sure that a career break does not become a career end. Alongside that, we'll see universal credit provide childcare costs up front. We're supporting people with the largest ever increase to the national living wage. I will have to be strict because of time, but yes.
So rather than just reading a pre-prepared speech, is he going to answer any of the points raised in the debate? For example, I point out Energy UK has observed that post-Brexit energy trading arrangements are adding £1 billion to our energy bills. What Brexit dividends offsetting that £1 billion added to our bills?
I will be coming on to the benefits of Brexit in due course, if you will kindly wait for that. I was about to move on to the fact that we have increased the national living wage to £10.42 an hour. That's an increase of 9.7%. In recent times, we've also cut the universal credit taper rate and increased the work allowance. And we're supporting those on the state pension or receiving pension credit and working age and disability benefits with a 10.1% uplift to match inflation. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, what have the parties opposite done? The SNP's motion today fails to recognise the support given to people across Scotland by the UK government and commits instead to spending almost £500,000 per year of taxpayers' money on an unnecessary select committee every year going forwards. They say they want to investigate matters relating to increases in prices, But while we know that global factors are at play, the SNP seem to blame Brexit alone, the same Brexit that has enabled us to take back control of our laws, our money and our borders. The same Brexit that's enabling UK fishermen to catch an additional £146 million worth of fish per year.
Just very quickly on that, without rehearsing the earlier debate on whether or not Brexit is good or bad for fishermen, would he agree with the Chief Executive of the Scottish Fishermen's Federation, who said, whatever issues the industry has with Brexit and labour issues, which has been mentioned earlier, these pale into insignificance if fishermen are banned from fishing, which they would be through the SNP and Green Party's Scottish Government's shambolic plans for highly protected marine areas?
My honourable friend's quite right. He, of course, champions the Scottish fishing industry, quite rightly so. I will move on to mention the procurement bill yesterday that will allow SMEs across the UK to more easily access £3 billion worth of revenue, and that's letting us rewrite the rules on support for places and regions, including in Wales and Scotland, to deliver levelling up. The same Brexit that's allowed 2 new free ports for each of Wales and Scotland, and also allowed the UK to lead the way in the rollout of the COVID vaccine, saving lives and putting the country back on track. One more.
The honourable gentleman must be aware that Jude Rain, the head of the MHRA, pointed out in December 2020 that the COVID licensing was under the rules of the EMA and nothing to do with Brexit.
I think we'll have to disagree. I think this country showed the way in terms of the management of the pandemic and the development of the vaccines. So the SNP want to discuss the cost of living, but they'd rather import oil and gas from overseas and support tens of thousands of jobs in Scotland. But I'd like to also look at the solutions proposed by the Labour government in Wales, because they seem to think that charging people to use motorways, bringing in a tourism tax and scrapping meal deals is the way to help people. Let's also not forget the money squandered by the Welsh Government on a racing circuit, never to be built, an airport where barely any planes take off, and £150 million on a report into the M4 Relief Road, which was then axed. And let us never forget their record on the economy, Mr Deputy Speaker. No Labour government has ever left office with unemployment lower than when they came to power.
Exactly.
It would perhaps be remiss of me not to remind the House that when Labour left office in 2010, the then Chief Secretary to the Treasury wrote, "I'm afraid there's no money left." So we will take no lectures on tackling the cost of living crisis from the parties opposite. The UK government is delivering an unprecedented package of support across the whole of Britain. The Prime Minister has been clear that it's his priority to halve inflation, ease the cost of living and give people the financial security that they want and deserve. While the opposition play politics, we are getting on with the job and delivering for the people of this United Kingdom.
Absolutely. Hear, hear.